Hey everyone, welcome back to all my listeners. This is episode 10 in season 16. Today is Wednesday, November 5th, 2025. My name is Sonal Patel, and this is the Paint the Medical Picture podcast series. All right, you guys, well, welcome to a brand new month. I hope you guys are having a wonderful start. It is the 5th day of the month. Yesterday was election day, so I don't know if you got out and voted in your state, if you were one of those states where you had the voting rights. A lot of upheaval is still going on with the government shutdown. Our calendar year 2026 final rule for the Medicare physician fee schedule came out on Halloween Day. And it was quite a trick on my eyes, as usual, thousands of pages that had to be read. And it just sort of got released without any warning. So those of us in the industry were just kind of shocked. But I've definitely had time to read it over the weekend as I'm preparing for education for my providers. Things have to be updated, especially for telehealth, but we'll get into that as the episode unpacks. But hopefully you guys had a wonderful Halloween and you went out trick-or-treating, or you took a drive and looked at fall foliage if it's still around in your neck of the woods. Things are definitely on the cooler side here in Chicagoland, but I do still have those really, really vibrant fall colors that are still remaining. So I stay happy because in no time at all, there's going to be snow. And I'm hearing in the forecast that it's going to be a heavier snowfall year this year. So yikes, that's going to be a tough one. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you got out and voted yesterday if your states had the voting rights yesterday on November 4th. But anyways, I wanted to make this a short and sweet episode. My Newsworthy is going to be featuring my spotlight on yet another healthcare awareness for lung cancer awareness for the month of November. And in my Trusty tip, guess what? I'm going to be focusing on what just came out regarding telehealth in the calendar year 2026 Medicare physician fee schedule final rule. And I promise I will make it quick and simple. I won't bore you with thousands of pages that I had to read. CMS provides a really nice fact sheet, so I'll just go over that, and hopefully that can clear things up. All right, and then finally, I'm going to go ahead and close out and round out today's episode with another remarkable quote on resilience from Margaret Thatcher. All right, you guys, let's get into it. So in today's Newsworthy, I just published an article in BC Advantage magazine's November-December issue on November as Lung Cancer Awareness Month. So I thought I would read to you a bit from my recent article. Quote, although World Cancer Day is honored on August 1st of each year, Lung Cancer Awareness Month is observed in November in the United States. Organizations like the American Lung Association and Lung Cancer Foundation of America aim to raise awareness about lung cancer, risk factors, its symptoms, and early detection methods. They also encourage people to quit smoking, get screened, and support continued lung cancer research. Now, let's go over some lung cancer statistics. The American Cancer Society has asserted lung cancer accounts for approximately 1 in 5 cancer deaths in the United States, claiming more lives annually than breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers combined. And at a global level, according to the World Health Organization, an estimated 2.2 million people are diagnosed with lung cancer each year, and 1.8 million people die from the disease. For women, there are a number of alarming statistics. 1 in 5 women diagnosed with lung cancer today have never smoked. Since 1987, lung cancer is the leading killer among women, surpassing breast cancer. And finally, every 9 minutes, a woman dies from lung cancer. Now, there continues to be significant disparities in research and treatment for both women and Black Americans. For example, lung cancer death rates have gone up 102% in women, while the death rate has decreased 29% in men. This trend emphasizes the need for more effective prevention and treatment strategies for women. Black Americans who have lung cancer were 19% less likely to receive surgical treatment compared to white Americans. Black lung cancer patients are less likely to have their cancer tissue tested for biomarkers, which can help determine an individualized course of treatment that is potentially life-saving. Let's move on. My article goes over lung cancer facts. There are two main types of lung cancer. The first is non-small cell lung cancer, or NSCLC, and that is the most common form. It accounts for roughly 85% of all lung cancer cases and includes adenocarcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. It tends to grow more slowly than the second main type and may be detected earlier, particularly through low-dose computed tomography or CT screening. Advances in genetic testing have enabled targeted therapies and immunotherapies, significantly improving survival for many patients with advanced NSCLC. Now, the second main type of lung cancer is small cell lung cancer, or SCLC. Now, it is a fast-growing and aggressive form of lung cancer. It makes up approximately 10 to 15% of cases, and it is strongly linked to smoking and is often diagnosed at an advanced stage due to its rapid spread, especially to the brain, liver, and bones. While SCLC typically responds well to initial chemotherapy and radiation, recurrence is common. Research into immunotherapy and novel combinations continues to offer hope for improved outcomes. Now, are you at risk for developing lung cancer? Healthy adults take approximately 20,000 breaths per day. With each breath taken, the lungs are exposed to a host of environmental factors. Here are 9 known risk factors. The first is smoking, cigarette, cigar, and pipe smoking. Smoking tobacco is thought to be responsible for 80% of all lung cancer diagnoses. Number 2, secondhand smoke. Even if you do not smoke, your lung cancer risk increases if you are routinely around others who smoke tobacco. The third risk factor, radon gas exposure. Found in soil, radon gas levels detected between 2.0 and 4.0 picocuries per liter are considered high. Number 4, asbestos exposure. Mostly found in mines, mills, and shipyards, exposure to large amounts of asbestos puts you at a greater risk of developing mesothelioma, a type of cancer that starts in the lining surrounding your lungs. Now, the fifth risk factor is other known carcinogens exposure. These include radioactive ores, such as uranium, inhaled arsenic, inhaled beryllium, inhaled cadmium, inhaled silica, inhaled vinyl chloride, inhaled nickel compounds, inhaled chromium compounds, inhaled coal products, inhaled mustard gas, and inhaled chloromethyl methyl ethers. 6. The sixth risk factor is arsenic in drinking water. Although the Environmental Protection Agency regulates arsenic levels in public drinking water in the United States, there are still some instances of high arsenic levels in communities using private wells. Albuquerque, New Mexico is the only urban area in the U.S. with substantial natural arsenic levels in drinking water. 7. Air quality. The American Lung Association State of the Air Report looks at 2 of the most widespread and dangerous air pollutants, fine particles and ozone. Now, the 2025 report includes many key findings. It finds, quote, it finds that even after decades of successful efforts to reduce sources of air pollution, 46% of Americans, or 156.1 million people, are living in places that get failing grades for unhealthy levels of ozone or particle pollution, end quote. Now, other researchers estimate that about 5% of lung cancer deaths worldwide are due to outdoor air pollution. People who live in cities, especially near high traffic roads, have a slightly increased risk of lung cancer if they are primarily walking or cycling as their mode of transportation. Now, the eighth risk factor is previous radiation to lungs. People who have had chest radiation therapy to treat other cancers, such as breast cancer, are at higher risk for lung cancer. Your age at the time of the previous treatment also affects your risk for developing lung cancer. And finally, ninth, my article goes over the ninth risk factor, which is family history or personal history. If you have previously had lung cancer, you have a higher risk of developing another lung cancer. Siblings and children of those who have had lung cancer also run a slightly higher risk of developing lung cancer themselves. End quote. And now it's time for my best practice tips in Trusty Tip. Now, the calendar year 2026 Medicare Physician Fee Schedule final rule was just released on Halloween Day last week. And trust me, it has been an ordeal, just like every year, for me to read through thousands of pages. And this year was no different at 2,375 PDF pages. But I just want to focus on one specific item today, telehealth. Now, CMS put out a very nice fact sheet, in my opinion, that simplifies the massive version in the PDF pages. And it says, quote, telehealth services under the physician fee schedule. For calendar year 2026, we are finalizing to streamline the process for adding services to the Medicare telehealth services list. We are simplifying our review process by removing the distinction between provisional and permanent services and limiting our review to whether the service can be furnished using an interactive two-way audio-video telecommunications system. We are also finalizing to permanently remove frequency limitations for subsequent inpatient visits, subsequent nursing facility visits, and critical care consultations. We are also finalizing the services that are required to be performed under the direct supervision of a physician or other supervising practitioner to permanently adopt a definition of direct supervision that allows the physician or supervising practitioner to provide such supervision through real-time audio and visual interactive telecommunications, excluding audio only. Except for services that have a global surgery indicator of 10 or 90, we are finalizing that a physician or other supervising practitioner may provide such virtual direct supervision for applicable Incident to services under Section 410.26, diagnostic tests under Section 410.32, pulmonary rehabilitation services under Section 410.47, and cardiac rehabilitation and intensive cardiac rehabilitation services under Section 410.49. Now, CMS did not propose to extend their current policy to allow teaching physicians to have a virtual presence for the purposes of billing for services furnished involving residents in all teaching settings, which had been in effect through December 31st, 2025. However, in response to public comments, again, in the massive final rule document, in response to the public comments highlighting the extent to which this flexibility has been integrated into clinical practice, we are finalizing allowing teaching physicians to have a virtual presence in all teaching settings, only in clinical instances where the service was furnished virtually and on a permanent basis. End quote. So I really loved their synopsis that they provided in the fact sheet. So it's really good to go ahead and update your compliance programs. Another big proactive pro tip of mine, go ahead and start updating your compliance programs so you are moving in the right steps for 2026 and you are embracing what the calendar year 2026 final rule states for what is allowable. So go ahead and document this fact sheet or the pertinent bits that actually apply to your practices. So I really, really enjoyed this particular fact sheet. It correlated really nicely when I read the massive document and the massive sections that were pertinent to telehealth, especially based on the volume of the public comments that came in support of most of these policies to go ahead and become permanent. So really, really enjoyed it. And of course, I've been updating all of my telehealth presentations because the final rule just came out and I remain current. Even though I just delivered the telehealth playbook just a couple of weeks ago, right? Even though I just delivered that, I'm still providing more and more education to providers, educational organizations, et cetera. So those types of webinars have to be updated, right? All the time. As we get more change, my presentations have to be updated as well. So my audience is always current on what is new and hot off the press when it comes to all things Medicare and Medicaid. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this trusty tip. If you ever need to reach out in terms of what more our calendar year 2026 final rule came out with in the Medicare physician fee schedule, there is so much more, and hopefully I can pick and choose some really pertinent parts for my particular audience here on the podcast. I would like to do that. So definitely reach out if you have any specific questions that we can go over here on the podcast. All right. And finally, I focus season 16 Spark on resilience. I want this 16th season Spark to be filled with our world's thought leaders, writers, artists, philosophers, everyone who inspires us with their statements involving resilience. So in this week's inspiring quote in Spark is from Margaret Thatcher. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. Absolutely true, right? This quote just hits. This quote reminds me how much strength we have. It encourages us to push for every goal, ask for everything we want. It tells us to not settle for a no, you cannot. This quote speaks to the warriors in all of us. You may have to fight a battle more than once to win it. I am happy Margaret Thatcher's spark burns brightly and continues to inspire so very many. All right, you guys. Well, that wraps up today's short and sweet episode. I hope you got a lot out of Lung Cancer Awareness Month. There are so many more details that I will provide in my show notes. I will definitely provide a link to the American Lung Cancer Association. That website has a wealth of information and resources that please make sure that you utilize. I love sharing links to wonderful organizations that celebrate and raise awareness for these particular awareness months. It's really important for all of us to remain educated and not be naive. It's good to look the facts in the eye, so we go to our healthcare providers equipped with at least some knowledge. All right, you guys. Well, I really hope you guys have an incredible, incredible week ahead. I know the month just started and the end of the month is end capped with Thanksgiving. So think about all of those things you want to be grateful for and give thanks for at your tables at the end of this month. So, all right, you guys. Thank you so much for listening in on today's episode. And I hope every week with me brings you closer to helping your providers paint a masterpiece. See you next Wednesday.